Hello, welcome to the Axiom Flux News on the 12th of April 2015. I'm PJ, I'm with Black Hole Bridger and Rhys as well. How you doing, guys?
Alright.
Way up, I'm okay, me old mucker.
Good stuff. So, tonight we're going to be covering a lot to do with paedophilia, child abuse, and the marches yesterday on Saturday. I've got a video to start us off with. It's just over 9 minutes, but it's a good intro. So I'm going to kick off with this and then we'll carry on after you.
Good one.
From buying his records when he was on top of the floor. He doesn't do a lot of BBC, and then they're going to make a bloody film about it. Well, as far as I'm concerned, they can cut that film right up there. Seriously, out. Because we don't want it. And anybody who contributes to that, as far as I'm concerned, is as evil as Jimmy Savile himself. He preys on vulnerable children. He preys on. Did you know that he also preys on sick children? That's how he was. He was a sick thief.
That's why he was doing volunteers to get people.
That's right. He was sent into different hospitals, Broadmoor, etc., etc., to do what he wants to do.
BBC, not even interested. Not interested in real stories.
We've got the county
BBC, bullshit news.
You're
You're the last news channel. You're the last news channel to start covering any of this. Yeah, RT's already started covering it, mate. BBC, full of shit. Not even interested in what I've got to say. I'm a fucking true victim, mate. You're not even interested in interviewing me. Fuck you, BBC. Fuck you. Yeah, exactly. I'm here telling him about what I've been engaged since I was a year fucking old. His arseholes don't even want to fucking know. Bullshit news. He fucking walks up while I was halfway through talking to him, the fucking arrogant shit that he was. Ignorant cunt. BBC's bullshit, mate. It's what you are, your corporation is. Yeah, it is.
Corporation.
Yeah. Here I am, a fucking victim from being a year old in Cairn. You're not even fucking interested in interviewing me. Bollocks to you. Fucking BBC bullshit. Go fuck off. Wait, I know it is. It's not about very nice things. You're giving me calm. You're giving me calm.
No, we've got to keep it calm.
I'm only telling the truth. I'm only telling them the truth.
What is 29 years trying to abuse a 1-year-old child? I find he is sick. And I hope he rots in jail, and I hope he looks over his shoulder every night. Somebody again. I really feel sorry for people like that. They say people who are a paedophile, they say that he's genetic. I've never heard such crap in my life. It is not genetic. No one abused us to go on from one generation to a generation after.
Yeah, I'm someone. I've got a lot of pressure going on.
The tendency of that man and hateful, the matter of father said, and I do hope she gets that, she says, if people have their tendency and cry out for help, let them get that help before they go out and abuse, because that abused child is a damaged child, and it has to stop. But if they can get support and help before they interfere with the child, we'll let them do that, and I hope the government funds those people, because at the end of the day it can be a private help. The people that get those pornos, so what? The ones who download child images, that is the ones that are evil as well. Downloading sick photographs. Watch your phone, be careful about. Watch your children on the beach. In 1 minute, your children's photograph is there running around with no phone. And 1 minute later, that's the only internet, and it'll be around like a fire. Because people enjoy watching that sort of stuff. They are not. But anyway, that's it. yeah. And then a little bit of a thick one. Right,
Yeah. I'll come up and talk.
right.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've got cameras, make sure you're close to the other.
You were right. Right, my name's Andrew Mackey. I was brought up in Perth from a year old. I started off at a place called Day and Close School. I was the youngest child ever to be put in a maladjusted children's home at that particular time. From there I was touched up in the shower rooms by Mr. Reid and Mr. Clarkston, where they came in and made excuses that they had to examine me for the doctor. They fingered my ass, they played with my cock. I ran away 3 or 4 times from this children's home and they ended up putting me into another children's home called St. William's in Market Wheaton. I got knocked out there by a member of staff and kept unconscious for 5 days while I was raped by paedophile priests. That's my story. From there I come out, I went straight to jail. I was in jail till I was, 21, in and out and in and out. Eventually I met other people who had been raped by members of staff in children's homes. And they taught me into starting to behave myself, getting out of being so angry with the system and society for doing what they did to me as a child. And here I am today, finally come out of the woodwork to tell all the people about the sort of things that go on in this country. Now, thank you very much. Now also, I'm probably the only person since this has been going on for the last 12 years. For the last 12 years since the police came to see me because they'd arrested 2 people for trying to kill one of the priests, Brother James, from St. William's School. And while I was in the cell, they made a statement to the police saying what they thought happened to me. I didn't know nothing about it. I thought I was only knocked out for a couple of hours. It turned out it was 5 days, mate. 5 days. And the police came to see me. They interviewed me about it. Said, could I remember it? I can't remember it. I remember coming in out of consciousness. But they went away and said that they was going to investigate it further. They never did. 2 years ago, I got the parents together to pick up the phone and phone the police to ask them what they was doing about it. They said they'd investigate it and my case wasn't important enough to be looking into. Then this Christmas, the police then phoned me up 2 days after my birthday and 3 days before Christmas and told me that there was no records of me ever being in care. No records whatsoever now exist of me being in care. Apart from one foster parent called the Boots who fostered me on the weekend, once a fortnight, sometimes once a month. Now, the solicitors firm, which I'm not going to mention, but I went to a solicitor's firm 2 years ago, they themselves are playing part in covering up paedophilia within the system. They're trying to get people to take our court settlements to keep it out of the public eye. I've told them no amount of money will fix this, and I want to take it to court. I want to take it the full way. They're trying to tell me that I'm best taking an out-of-court settlement. They're also hiding information themselves. They're adding bits to my statements that I've given them. They've also, in order to grant the case, and this is the solicitors we're talking about here, they've put my statement in, but it's got a wrong name on it. They've spelled my name wrong, which on its own can have it kicked out of court. Now, solicitors firms know this. They're doing this on purpose. The police are trying to get us all to commit suicide by phoning us up on times like right next to your birthday and telling you that you've got no evidence. How do you feel I'm making anybody feel? I wouldn't make anybody feel. Hearing that. It's absolutely sick. That's right, mate. Anyway, my name's Andy Mackey. I'm known as the Truth Machine. I'm putting on a gig. So victims can get together and talk about what's been going on. And make plans for future protests in the country. It's on the 17th of July. It's in Darlington. It's a free gig, so nobody has to pay anything. But any donations towards portable toilets and sound system will be much appreciated. And that's the 17th of July. If you want to look it up on YouTube, I'm known as the Truth Machine on YouTube. Look it up, it's child abuse. I've got lots of different folders for lots of different things that I expose. There's an advertisement on there telling you all the dates and times and what bands are playing and who's going to be speaking. Right, thank you very much for listening. On to the next people.
Nice, so there you go. What do you think to that one then, guys? That's the one in London.
Yeah, the one in London. There's a lot of tension in there, which everyone's feeling at the minute. But I had a great time in Liverpool the other day. There was no tension. There was just good souls. But I think we're really lucky that we've got these victims coming forward, because it's getting harder for the establishment to play the conspiracy card now, isn't it?
Yeah. I think we had Dave Weiss yesterday and he said there were thousands.
Yeah.
In London, so.
It's picking up pace. It's good.
What's your thoughts, Paul? You got your mute on?
When you got solicitors, police, members of parliament, and all that's supposed to be in places of authority, even in the courts themselves, you know, all covering up, all playing along with protecting Mr. Paedophile or Miss Paedophile. It's just so well out of order. And if the establishment think the people are going to let this lie, they're the only ones that are lying, because we're not going to lie down on this. The people are not going to let it rest until it's sorted.
Yeah. Well, I've got an article here from, well, I've picked it off at Daily Mail. Let me just go and bring it up now. So, yeah. Should be able to see this. Is it showing? Can you see it?
Yeah.
This is
Showing my end.
63 police inquiries, 2,100 victims, the child abuse dossier that shames Britain after a horrific explosion of historic sex cases in Savile. I don't agree with headlining, but you know, that's just the expected way of it being put. The unprecedented scale of current police investigations into historic child abuse can be revealed for the first time. Senior officers warn of the challenge of investigating the alleged crimes. More than 2,000 people have come forward in the wake of Savile scandal to say they were abused at institutions. 1,200 of the alleged victims were inmates of just one institution. Goes into detail here. I'm not going to read it all. I'm just going to pick highlights out. So the investigation, this is by the Mail on Sunday, has revealed that the forces around Britain are carrying out more than 60 major investigations into sex attacks and beatings in schools, children's homes and churches dating back to the 1950s. More than 2,000 people have come forward in the wake of Jimmy Savile. Repeats, mentions, this one mentions Northern Borstal, once visited by the late Home Secretary Leon Britton, and praised for its short, sharp shock regime. He himself is now at the centre of a number of abuse claims. Imagery in the not like you need pointing him out. So this goes into a bit more detail here. Let me just zoom out because I've got it zoomed in for those that are struggling to see. So this is just a chart on the amount of numbers that have come forward in the different areas throughout England and Wales. Does it include Scotland, by the way? Which is, you know, completely would have sent it off at map anyway if it did, because Scotland's quite high in this sort of behaviour. So this is number one in detention centres, Operation Seabrook. This is Durham Constabulary, Durham's police biggest ever investigation into looking into physical and sexual abuse of more than 1,000 inmates at Medumslate Youth Detention Centre near Consett. Officers are trying to track down people who worked there in the 1970s and 80s, as well as alleged victims. Accused two former guards at the centre, Neville Husband and Leslie Johnson, were jailed more than a decade ago, and both have since died. 16 other members of staff have been questioned in the new inquiry. A staggering 1,123 people who were held at the unit were told police they were abused there. One of them, Kevin Young, which you might be aware of. So number 2 is Schools, Operation Tweed, Cumbria Constabulary. Pupils of Underlay Hall, a school for troubled boys near Kendal, and Witherslack Hall School for special needs pupils in Grange over Sands say they were abused between the 70s and 90s. Accused is an ex-teacher. He killed himself after denying abuse allegations. The late Liberal MP Cyril Smith, who escaped prosecution for abusing boys at homes in his native Rochdale, was known to be a regular visitor. At least 20 former pupils say they were abused at the 2 schools. So number 3 is the Church, Operation Dunnel and Operation Perry, Sussex Police. Allegations of safeguarding failures by clergy in the Church of England, Diocese of Chichester in the 70s and 80s were the subject of a report carried out by Baroness Butler Sloss. Police have carried out 2 recent investigations plus an unrelated one into its prestigious prep school. In the image there is Bishop from Lewes Peter Ball and Prince Charles. Number 4 is the Operation Midland Metropolitan Police, a probe into serious organised sexual abuse and possible murder of 3 boys, including Martin Allen in 1970s and 1980s. It centres around the Dolphin Square near Westminster, where many MPs lived. Accused is the Home Secretary, again Leon Britton, who died in January. Ex-Tory MP Harvey Proctor and ex-military chief Lord Bramall, they deny any wrongdoing. Number 5, celebrities, because it's Operation Utri, of course, as we're most of us are aware of. The Met and the South Yorkshire Police, after Jimmy Savile's exposure, the prolific paedophile allegations were made against many public figures. Rolf Harris and Max Clifford were jailed, but others were released without charge.
There's just so many. There's just so many cases, isn't there? But I think the biggest wake-up call for me.
This is bigger. This is bigger.
Was Patrick Rock.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember? You know, when your country's chief advisor on online pornography filters is caught with kiddie pictures, I think that should be sending alarm bells up and down the country.
Yeah, definitely.
But it just shows you how insidious these paedophiles are. They will even go as far, if the children isn't submissive and that, to chemical caution so they can get the wicked way while the child's not even in this realm, as to say.
Well, this is number 6 in Children's Zone, which is mostly of what that video were about, and that's Operation Daybreak, if you want to believe it, and Operation Xeris, I think it's pronounced. I might be wrong.
Operation Daybreak, according to Judge Pert,
is a conspiracy theory.
Yeah.
Well, not according to Daily Mail on Sunday's report.
Or according to the BBC, or even the police's media correspondence people that sent a letter out mentioning Operation Daybreak.
Yep. All the survivors that reported it and witnessed that this Operation Daybreak did exist. Well, anyway, just read it. 189 former residents of 18 children's homes in Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire say they were abused between the 50s and 80s. Accused 11 people have been arrested last week. Social worker Andy Longins, 56, was charged with rape, indecent assault and causing injury. The victims, survivors, award-winning actress Samantha Morton, who grew up in residential care, says 2 men abused her at the Red Tiles home near Nottingham. She said last year, "I thought they were really nice people, so I was actually really shocked when it happened." There's a picture over there, Samantha Morton. Number 7, just to finish off quickly here. Humberside Police, 8 West Yorkshire Police, Greater Manchester Police, Cheshire Police, National Crime Agency, Norfolk Police, Leicestershire Police, Walksall West Mercia Police, Northamptonshire Police, Bedfordshire Police, Suffolk Police. Do I need to go on? Just goes on there up to 24.
Wow.
You could go on and on and on and on. It's
I
just
can go
so.
on and on and on. But this is what we all know about. So, but what we don't know about is, well, not all of us.
This is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah, I think the way the judges portray it as well, they're looking less and less credible. And I don't like working on presumption, but me personally, I'm of the opinion that all judges are in the know until proven innocent. I strongly believe that now.
Well, we've got judges saying there's no morale. You know, they don't feel like doing the job. We've got judges falling asleep. You know, he's just completely just collapsed in my opinion.
It's upside down, mate.
But I think this gives a good time to bring on this guest, Ruby Akthar. She's going to talk to us about her experiences. So I'm going to try and call her up now and see how the connection goes here, and hopefully we can have a conversation.
Hello?
Hello, Ruby.
Yeah.
How are you doing there? It's PJ, we're live on air.
Sorry?
We're live on air, it's PJ. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Good stuff. How are you doing?
Sorry?
How are you doing? Are you okay?
Not too bad. Yourself?
Yeah, doing great, thanks. Very good. Ruby, I'm glad you can join us tonight and appreciate you taking your time out. We would like to just basically hear what you've got to say and let you tell your story if you won't mind.
Okay. My story is this, that I was a child bride and the age of 12 trafficked from Pakistan by the English paedophile, and that was in 1978, and I've suffered quite a tragedy and trauma throughout the years, and then now my vision is to help others who likewise been abused.
Yeah. So let's start from the beginning, because you came to England, was it in 1978, is it? Was it in 12th of October 1978 was when you first came to Heathrow?
Yes, 12th of October.
Yeah, that's right. And since then, what age was you when you came over in 78?
Age 12.
It was 12. And you came on using a passport that stated, which age was it?
17.
17. And you mentioned about the individual, are you willing to mention his name?
I don't mind, and you could carry on mentioning his name. He went to the Indian Irish Embassy High Commission in India and got my passport nationality from there without I being present.
Right, and this is Andrew John Hillis, am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us a bit of information on what you know about, Andrew John Hillis from your experiences.
Well, my experiences is he was a child pedophile, and he went over and kidnapped me and giving false information to my parents. And then after 12 years, no contact with my father, my mother, anybody, family. So I had to do my own contact. My father was looking for me for the last 12 years. And the British embassy wouldn't give him the visa or entry to come to UK to find me.
Yeah.
So
okay.
That was upheaval, and then I was locked up for 3 years from 78 to 1981. And in that period, I jumped out of the window winter nights, went to the Bangor County Down police station, and where there was all male police, and they did not record my report or anything. But next morning, they took me up to Cecil Armstrong, the inspector of the Castlereagh police station, who rescued me after that.
Right, yeah.
And then he went over to the paedophile and asked him for my passport, my belonging, and he said he didn't have it. So Cecil Armstrong said, look, I have a warrant and I can come and search your house. And he took my passport, he obtained my passport, Irish passport, which I still have a copy of it to this day. And from that passport, because my age was in question, that official document was in my hand, which was saying that I was 17. That meant nobody, authorities or professionals, ever going to believe me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. The records that we keep today with systems are not like they were back then.
Yes.
I imagine there was hardly any system at all, if you want to call it like that. So trying to prove your actual age back then would have been a difficult position, especially just for you yourself to achieve.
Yes, because you see, what I was going to say to you, I was born in a rural area, and my birth was registered in a city called Sialkot, Pakistan. And even if I was to go and get it, nobody would give it to me because there was a high powers who were involved in it.
Yeah. So at what point did you did it actually click where you sort of began to understand what it were that you were actually involved or forced to be involved in? The scale of it.
Well, what happened was when I came to here and I was absolutely distraught and confused, and I was alien.
Was this?
I still feel an alien, right?
And this is in 1992, is it, when you came to England?
In 1992, yes.
Yeah.
And so really, I spent these 3 years while I was in there getting my escape and finding out the information. He enrolled me in Bangor County Down College, and from there he would pick me up and drop me, the pedophile. And I only had the time in the college, university, so I would ask individuals information, where is the police station, where is so-and-so, a lot of different informations. How long will it take me to walk from this house, and what connection I could get. So this was 3 years period that I learned a lot of, I did my O-levels in there, and I did domestic science as well, and learned to cook, knit, everything.
Yeah. Okay, so since then, you're now remarried, and have you got, did you say you had 5 children?
Yes, I do have 5 children. And I was married to 16, just shortly after 16, to another man in Northern Ireland. And I had a happy marriage with him. He was 5 years older than me. And his family was lovely, Christian values. And then out of that I had 3 children, mixed race. Then I had another marriage in England to one of my own native from the Pakistan, which he violently hit me in 1999 September. Yeah. Foreign shopping, as you call it.
All right, yeah.
And I have 2 sons from him.
And one of your children you've last seen, was it 20 years ago now? Today, is it roughly around that?
Yes, I tell you what, my son was born in March '94, and my parents, my mother and my 4 sisters who fabricated social services, compiled a lot of lies, and they have not to this day shown me a picture of my son or any contact in Austria. And his name is Ryan.
Ryan. Would that be his name that he's got now?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They've changed his name to Ryan Paul.
It's a random name, Ryan Paul. Have you tried doing any research on looking for your child, your son?
Well, I have tried early years of age in '98, and that time I had a child whose kidney failed at birth, and I had no help at family or anything. My marriage was doomed, so I could not. No, I never had a protection of the family or support from any kind of sources, around me. I was alone every time up to today.
Yeah. Another thing that I was going to touch on is over in Pakistan recently. There's been an incident of a young Christian child boy, I think it was.
Yes, as a boy.
Yeah. Would you like to tell us about that, or best to what you know?
Okay. His name was Noman Masih. Masih is like the Christ Messiah. Surname. And 13-year-old boy was going to the market and two men asked him, why not going for Juma? He said he was Christian.
And
then they put petrol thrown on him. Others joined in. He was set ablaze. And this is a horrific. And that is not just one case. This happens to daily, period, and minorities cases in Pakistan or any other Middle East.
yeah, I mean, the coverage that I see over from Pakistan area is basically just covering the election and only about that and the protest, nothing to do with anything like you've just explained. So this young child was asked if he was going to Friday prayers, is that right?
Yes, for Juma means Friday prayers, as you said.
Yeah, and he answered, his reply obviously to that was no.
No, I'm a Christian.
Yeah. So.
And, very much so. The Constitution 1947, Jinnah, who got freedom for Pakistan, he said all minorities had freedom to go to synagogue, temples, wherever they wanted to worship.
Yeah.
So really, what I feel is that all the politicians, all the high-profile people, they never disclose this to the West. Rather, they ask for minorities to be given aid fundings, and their syllabus and education system is fueled, vacuumed with the hate amongst the minorities, non-Muslims.
Yeah. So lately,
it's alarming.
Lately you've been doing a lot of campaigning for protecting children, and one incident you told me about was when you was accused of giving immigration advice.
Yes. Well, I was, since 2003, I have a great conviction and compassion for homeless people, abused children, abused women, men, any category, any color they come from, walk of life. And Harrow Council didn't like it, so they complied with the Home Office that I was giving immigration. They put in my office false people. And said I was giving immigration advice where I had never had given. I'd taken clients to the solicitors and barristers who verified, but still authorities played a major role. Once authority decides your fate, they make sure that you could never walk again.
Yeah, which is exactly what they did.
That's what they did. And they have tried to silence me various times on child abuse, anything I want to do in life. Now, I am doing a criminal degree, but I cannot practice because they have framed me that I was giving immigration advice, spent this sentence when there were two Nigerians who were criminals who gave evidence.
Right.
You see, and they listened to them to put a black mark on me.
Yeah. And this ended up with was it a £60,000 debt?
Yeah, a £60 debt. Out of my own benefit, borrow money from the bank. I spent it on homeless and child abuse children who were left destitute.
And the thanks that you got was harassment.
Thanks, I got reward I got from the Home Office and the Harrow Council. And Harrow Council made me homeless for 2 years.
Shocking.
Social services didn't take my disability in 2002 of colitis. I nearly died. And they really, really abused me.
It's just an abusive system we seem to be finding ourselves in.
And my own father, elderly, you know, how council robbed DWP, robbed him of his pension, credit state pension. He worked all his life in England and Austria.
Yep.
And my father, he's not getting any pension over there, neither over here. Could you believe this, what they're doing to us?
It's horrible. What was it you was mentioning about India? You were speaking of India?
I was speaking of in India, but...
Is this a campaign that you're attempting to try and take over there?
I'm trying to take over the rural areas where children are innocent. They have no electricity, no any kind of the Western ideology on the porn, Disney, anything you want to name it. They're just innocent people all over the world in rural areas, children. And I would like to keep them innocent.
Yeah, I was discussing with you earlier today about the mining companies that have gone over into these rural places of India, and now they was trying to get approval from the elders of the communities to come over and start mining basically and destroying what they've got. And in return, they prepare them with electricity supplies, and so they can have TVs and things they've never even seen. And the way that they did it, Ruby, as I've told you earlier today, is they used the children to influence the elders into agreeing and consenting to sign this form, which would allow the work to take place for the mining companies to come over. And the way they went about that was using Disney films on TVs, and they got the children all sat down outside watching this TV that they'd never seen before. And that was instantly all they needed to do to get a signature on that paper.
Well, you see, that is a very conniving by the powers and parties that are to decorate children that they could get to the elders. Elders have no education. Prior to, we can go back on to why the elders didn't have the education. This was the British and the high powers when
Yeah.
The royal family killed over there, and so they can have the gold resources, gas, materialistic, to bring over here.
That's exactly it, yeah. It's just all for profit and just trying to basically keep control of India as Britain seems to require the need to keep hold of India for as long as they can and dominate it.
Pakistan. Though India is in Commonwealth, Pakistan is in Commonwealth, who complies with the rule and regulations? You need a visa to come here. If you're in Commonwealth, you don't need a visa.
Yeah, so would you really say that they've got their independence in India? Because it doesn't seem to be that case, does it?
Well, let's put it this way. In India, they have investments over there, still the royal family.
They've got the space program, Ruby. Have you read up on that lately?
No, I haven't, and I would like you to share that link with me, please.
Yeah, I'll send you that. I haven't got it at hand at the minute, otherwise I'd show it up on the screen here for the viewers to look at, but I'll definitely pass you that. I just wondered, go on, Ruby, sorry.
Also, the Queen owns Karachi, the fort, the Sindh, to this day. Because my father, when we were in Sakkar, that was a British time, they built headquarters.
Yeah.
And they still remain over there.
Campaigns that you've got, just remind us of your website. Is it Ruby 2?
Yeah, www.ruby, R-U-B-Y, number 2.web.com.
.web.com. Okay, and you've got campaigns far and wide now, Ruby. You're doing excellent, by the way. I must say that. And basically, what is it you're looking for now? Is it in terms of support and people?
I'm looking for just from the victim side of it. Those victims have survived and who have come about and have broken the silence to sponsor me, join me in a team on a forum where we can build a platform, a Ruby Rescue Center, where we can combat these children and try and bring safe haven, create safe haven for individual children and people worldwide, globally.
Brilliant stuff. And people can get in contact and everything through the website, yeah? Is that right?
People can contact me on that website, and also I have another website, Ruby, R-U-B-Y, r.web.com, that Ruby Rescue Center. That is for children, you know, who've been on the Ritalin medication, domestic and drug violence.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Because that's pretty, that's a big case on its own with the Ritalin, yeah?
Because my own son is very close to my heart, because my own son, who's been on it 10 years.
10 years.
Only 16 last year that he came off on the May the 8th.
Wow.
And I have been through a journey with that, and I want to give education awareness on to Ritalin. That is something that is very wrong to put your child on it.
Yeah. Well, I commend you for your efforts, Ruby. You're an inspiration to myself. I don't know about the others. I can't speak for the others, but
Yeah.
I've got a few people
Absolutely.
who joined with me. If anybody wants to have a comment, well.
Yeah, could I come in here? Regarding the abusive system, it's hidden under a thin veneer of social care and caring, and this is how our system's been getting away with it for so long. It's been under the disguise of caring, yet it's rotten to the core. It's not just the one bad apple in the barrel no more. It's so prevalent, it's disgusting, and its stench must be tickling everybody's nostrils by now. And
I don't think many people have got a sense of smell though, Paul. I think that's what it is.
yeah, but as regards about the English being in control in India, we still are in control. From the days of the colonial powers that was running India, when we were supposed to have given India back its independence, we either left key people in prime positions or our Indian agents in their prime positions. So really, India has not come out of colonial rule whatsoever. It's been under our rule all the time. I did want to ask Ruby a question. If you're able to answer a question, Ruby.
Yeah, I would be happy to answer you within my own capacity and experiences.
Yeah. You said that your father was searching for you for 12 years. He was looking for you. So from 1984 until 1990, how did your father actually lose? How did he actually lose contact with you in the first place? What was the mechanisms at work here for him to actually lose that contact with you?
Okay, right. Whenever I was brought from Pakistan, my dress was given wrong information for me. And when I came over here, my father didn't hear this from me. And,
Right.
and my
So-
father was looking for me to the authorities. He got to Austria.
So it was all done behind your father's back, yes? Am I right in thinking that?
Sorry?
So it was all done behind your father's back without him knowing about it. Am I correct?
Yeah, that's right, Paul. I mean, if father, like she said, for 12 years, we're looking for her. After the only address that he was given was obviously an incorrect address, and based on realizing that, he had nothing else to support him with the search for Ruby.
This is how insidious these people work. They break the ties to isolate the children so they've got nobody to run to. And then when they run to these services, the so-called caring services,
Yes,
which
yes.
they're just totally abusive.
It's not just that,
this has led to your total abuse, and it's not just from your childhood, it's carried on, the ripple effects is carried on right into your adult life with the loss of your own children. This is how insidious all this is.
Yes, indeed. This is why I want for everybody to join me on team to closing down these homes and building new homes where the victims will be in charge and control.
Yeah.
Well,
Because I lost my trust.
Yeah, well, my heart goes out to you. I'm so sorry that our people, so-called people, because they're not my people if they're paedophiles and this way of working, I don't consider them my people, but I would like to apologise for their wrongdoings to you, Ruby. I hope you'll be able to accept that with heart.
I would, and really from my heart felt, you're not to apologize for these pedophiles. Doesn't matter whether they're white, whether they're brown, they're pink, yellow, because you wouldn't be right to apologize for these people. You are a wonderful man who has come and shared with me and give me sympathy.
We are all Earth brothers and sisters. No matter what part of the world we come from, we are all brothers and sisters. And this is how they work, the divide and rule system. They try to make out we're not brothers and sisters and we should be at each other's throats. Therefore, while we're at each other's throats, they can be doing whatever they like paedophilia, just for one example.
Indeed, indeed. You're so right. And thank you.
No, thank you, Ruby. Thank you very much, love.
Any comment from Rhys there, Rhys? Have you got one?
Yeah, what can you say when you're overwhelmed with corruption? But I'm with Paul Ruby too. I thank you for your bravery. And I was saying earlier that because of people coming forward, it's now becoming harder for the establishment to pull out the conspiracy card. And I thank you for that too.
You still there, Ruby?
I'm still here listening.
Alright, yeah, that's Rhys. He's just thanking you for everything you've done, basically, for helping him to do more for everybody else.
Thank you. He's my reward tonight because he is voicing it with me.
Yeah. Well, that's all it needs. That's all it takes. It's just people have to be willing to understand what it is that they in need of talking about. And I don't think probably not always at their own fault, but more people can do more. I'm sure, because even though I do what I do, I always strive to go out my way even more and work just twice as hard next day to try and put more out there to help people. Just what you're doing, and like I said earlier, Ruby, you're my inspiration in this, and many others that survived this abuse. Yeah.
Thank you. And this is what, likewise, each one of us could walk extra mile.
Oh, indeed. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
To make a safe haven, the earth, globally.
I think your idea of changing these care homes and having them where they're survivor-led, survivor-run is awesome. I don't think anybody can argue with that. No one can think of any better ways and solution to, and that will help to heal these survivors. Probably not cure them, but it'll help to heal them as they're working with children and they get to see these children smile and just be children.
Well, you see, you cannot take away the trauma.
No, you can't.
You can work on the fringes.
But you can heal from seeing the smiles of children that you're helping, Ruby, can't you? That's
yeah.
And that bone in my body is going to heal with smiles of the children.
No.
As I have actually said before, the trauma actually scars one's psyche and travels right through one's adulthood, all the way through, and it affects so many different areas of not just their lives, but of people's lives that come into contact with them, and it not being their fault. And a lot of the times, they are being blamed for it. Yeah, it's not their fault whatsoever. So you are, as Rhys was saying, they can't keep playing the trump card and play the conspiracy theory card. So you are a good trump card in our deck of dealing with these lies and corruption.
Thank you, and we need to change this shiftly with everybody likewise yourself.
Well, I'm going to go into a bit further information after I've finished with speaking with you, Ruby. You're more than welcome to stay tuned in if you like and join us in this read-up. But I've got a little write-up here what's from the Axiom website. If I can bring it up, that is. Hold on. Okay, you should be able to see this now. Okay, so sexual assault is where the victim is forced into sexual activity, in particular sexual penetration against his or her knowing, consent through the use of physical force, threat of injury, or other duress. The three most common forms of sexual assault are rape, incest, and paedophilia. Rape most commonly occurs with the man being the aggressor and a woman being the victim. In the case of incest and paedophilia, the victims are usually young children. So the evil act of rape. The word rape originates from the Latin verb rapere, to seize or take by force. Principally, as it is a male crime, it is when a man forces sexual intercourse against the other person's will, usually female. Traditionally, the most common incidence of this evil crime is within the context of marriage and relationships, when the husband or partner forces himself upon his wife, girlfriend, or friend. Under the traditional Pauline Sadducee philosophy of the hatred of women promoted over the last 2,000 years and reinforced by the Uthman Sadducee philosophy that corrupted Islam, women have been considered mere property for hundreds and hundreds of years. While laws have existed and were occasionally enforced in circumstances where a woman was raped by a complete stranger, the husband was generally immune in law from prosecution of rape against his wife, and in times of war, few soldiers were ever caught and prosecuted for the crime. While women have finally gained some legal rights concerning rape after thousands of years of suffering, Western culture has been deliberately sabotaged and corrupted so that a counterforce has emerged, that of women being purely sexual objects, and a modern culture of young women emulating the morals and behaviour of prostitutes. So, in an extraordinarily perverse set of circumstances, women have won the rights to be recognised under the law, but socially, the moral respect of women and their bodies amongst virtually all cultures has never been as low as it is today. The nature of the crime has also changed. Now, rape has become a predatorial behaviour, tactically condoned and practised as a rite of passage amongst young gang-orientated men across the Western world. Rape by strangers has increased, including violent rape, while the incidence of rape within marriage is steady or declining in reported cases. However, the deliberate and calculated sexualization of women as pure objects of pornographic desire is likely to see dramatic explosions of rape in times of severe social stress, unlike anything that has been seen, including times of war. This gets a bit deeper here, is the evil act of child sexual assault. Up until 40 years ago, most sexual assault against children was not within a family or trusted family member context, but via systems of organised paedophilia and sexual abuse. Predominantly Catholic clergy and missionaries in operation since at least the 6th century. Systematic child sexual assault has been a speciality of the Sadducee elite that established the Vatican in the 3rd century and the Sadducee Umayyad empires in the 7th century. Ever since, countless tens of millions of children have been raped, abused, and often murdered by religion, you're not supposed to say. It is only in the first decade of the 21st century that the Catholic Church has been forced to end one of its oldest traditions of over 1400 years of child sexual abuse in developed countries. As a result, often homosexuality amongst many clergy has dramatically increased in countries such as the United States, Europe, Australia, while the requests by clergy to undertake missionary work in poor and under-policed countries has boomed. In yet another example of deliberate cultural sabotage, the sexualization of children continues without halting in advertising. The internet and even the financial support of radical adult Catholic-dominated male groups actually claiming their legal right to have sex with children. This is a good video to watch. It's from Bill Donahue. It's an old one, but he does cover paedophilia and religion pretty good, in my opinion. Do check on this on Axiom Cable and look at this article, guys, for a further read, because it's got more stuff which I'm not going to be going through today. I just want to show you this image here that you can see. This is Akthar, and I'll give you a brief information on that. It's a ritual sex human sacrifice as the murder of a person during some kind of ceremonial ritual which involves sexual acts prior, during, or after the murder. When reading any history book on human sacrifice, inevitably the most barbaric groups in terms of brutal ritual are listed as such cultures as the Maya, the Aztecs, and Incas, particularly from the accounts of Spanish priests who claim to have witnessed great bloody ceremonial sacrifices. Yet this is quite untrue. The most evil, brutal, bizarre, and psychologically twisted ancient religious ceremonies involving human sacrifice revolve around the trinity of Sadducee demon gods. The principal pantheon of gods of the Sadducees were mainly derived from the Syrian Ugaritic roots. The most senior god was Ashtoreth, the goddess of fertility, sexuality, and war. The most famous temples were on Cyprus as Aphrodite and the Rome on Vatican Hill. A ceremonial headdress was the kippah, the cap worn thousands of years before Christianity adopted it for its leadership, followed by the Jews and then the Sadducee-influenced Muslims. So I'm not going to get too much into religions and things tonight. I just thought I'd give you a little interesting piece on an alternative history for you to balance off with the academic stuff you taught in schools and let you work out based on what you've heard from Ruby speaking and many other people from the video that I started off this Flux News with, and just come to some common sense agreement on your own. And like this police officer did, ex-former detective sergeant who believes the case of satanic ritual abuse to be true in Hampstead. Also check that one. Another one here. Just have a look at this page, and I'm sure you'll find your way to figuring out what's actually true and what's a hoax. But other than that, if we've got any other final comments from either yourself, Ruby, or anybody else?
Well, my comment is this: people who are victims and people who know the truth, that they need to vigorously join my hands and team by donating their time, their services, and their professionalism, financially, practically, morally. So they can go to my website and donate. I'm writing a book which I need to pay $750 pending out of my own monies. So the book can reveal a lot of authorities and ritual what goes on to the child pedophilia rings.
Yeah, and you said, Ruby, you're in a difficult situation when it comes to financial at the minute, and this book for you is basically is it something you'd say you depended on for your campaigns?
Depending on this book, very heavily on too, because I am registered disabled and I had cancer and I am on medication since 2002, and I'm relying on this book to be beneficiary of my website, Ruby Rescue Center.
Oh,
And any
sure.
sources, sponsors, I would welcome on that, where I can create such a safe haven
And
for
did
individuals.
did you say it was $750 or pound?
Dollars.
Dollars. So that's nothing, guys. If anybody who's listening into this can chuck a couple of pounds to Ruby's way, it'd be greatly appreciated, and I'll definitely be doing what I can, not only financially, but in terms of just love and willingness to help Ruby in any way I can, you know.
Yeah,
Thank you very much appreciated. You could see that will put a smile on even one child who has been abused.
And that to some would be an impossible task, to see an abused child smile. But if you think you're capable of achieving that by donating what you can to help Ruby with your book, please do that.
This is why we've got platforms like Axiom. We'll push it forward. I'll do my best to push it forward, Ruby.
Yeah, Ruby, what is the title of the book, please?
It is the title of the trafficked child who has survived.
I'm having a bit of a translation problem here.
What did you say? Trafficked child who survived? Is that correct, Ruby?
Yes.
Right. And where is it able to be got from? Where can people get their hands on it? Through what platforms can they get hold of it and order it?
It's ready, and it will go on to this website. You know, Masons who publish books.
I've heard of them. Yeah.
That's where I'm trying to target, where my book can go up on it, and people can, get it from there. And then we can get awareness education.
Would this be an e-book, or is this a book you can order? Is it paperback, hard book?
Hard book.
Hard book, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So can we able to put that upon the site, PJ?
Yeah, I'll be able to work with Ruby and helping support that project there. Definitely, Ruby.
Thank you, and I'll be much appreciated.
Yeah, no problem. Likewise. And thank you for spending your time with Ruby. It's been great listening to you. Horrific stories, but
Yeah, you're very much welcome, dear sister. Very, very, very much welcome. And all your effort you're putting beyond it.
Ruby.
Very peaceful night.
Ruby, while you're here, I'm sure Paul won't mind me saying this, but he's been in a situation with cancer as well, haven't you, Paul?
Yes, and I was actually told I only had 4 or 5 years left to live, and there was nothing they could do for me, but I cured myself. If people actually look into natural remedies, there are remedies there. It's being covered up. So many different remedies, it's unbelievable. And it only takes a bit of research to be able to cure yourself.
This is a guy. This is a guy who was told he had 4 or 5 years to live. He's past that now, and he's fighting fit, as Paul would like to say, and he's doing what he can with, just like on Axiom Curb, and he's a great example.
I was told in 2002 I have 5 to 7 years to live.
Oh, they talk rubbish, don't they, Ruby? Don't listen to them.
Yeah.
Like remedies, natural remedies, they have really helped me.
Yeah.
And Ruby Rescue Center, and my center, I will be offering this to the people who are sick.
Well, I can't give any medical advice or health advice, but I can give you Paul's experience.
But you see, one of the main troubles is a lot of people look at the people in the white coats with the stethoscopes hung around their necks as gods. So when that person tells them they only have a few years left to live, they go straight into instant fear. And because of the fear, it sends their mind into the fear mode, which actually depresses all their immune system. And it is a negative system. So don't be put off by these people. Do your research, look into it, stay positive, do what I done, laugh at it and spit in its face.
Good man.
Yes, I agree with and second that what you have said. And this is the white collar for you. And
Oh, yeah.
by the dark figures, high numbers have not been reported. But my Ruby Rescue Center is going to break the silence of the victims.
Lovely.
Lovely, yeah, good to hear. Beauty to my ears, that, Ruby, for what I've been listening to over the past week with all these other stories and that. That's a highlight of my week.
I thank you for your life, what you're doing here.
Oh, and you don't, no thanks needed, Ruby. It's a must, necessity. We have to do it. So I don't really choose to do this. I'd rather not have to cover this child abuse, you know. But because of the situation we're in,
and nobody else is addressing it.
No, but I don't mean that. I mean, I shouldn't. I don't really feel like I should have to cover it based on the actual evil of it all. You know, I'd rather that they'd not.
It's down to moral obligation, mate. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
If that pedophilia, rape, children, rituals could be wiped off.
Yeah. Well, we're definitely seeing a lot happening, especially over this past year. Ruby, I will keep you informed, and I'll definitely introduce you to other survivors and help you with your campaign growing, and so you can take it worldwide and, you know, save these children that people don't even know exist.
Indeed. And thank you for giving me all the information. You have a lot of knowledge, my friend.
Well, likewise. Ruby, it's blessed for you to join us. Thanks very much.
And thank you to everybody who took part in it tonight. God bless.
God bless.
Bless you, Ruby.
Welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, so that's Ruby Akthar from the Rescue Child Survivors, I think it was. Have we got anything else we want to say before we finish this and close this one off?
I'd like to listen to Rhys have a little strum on his guitar for us.
Right, well, let's leave with some positivity first. Let me get rid of this off the screen. But do check
Tell you
that.
what I'm gonna do. If you'll allow me, after tonight's conversation, I'm gonna play a tune no one's heard before. It's quite personal to me. If that's okay.
Yeah, go for it, Rhys.
Well, yes, Rhys, I'd love to hear that.
I think the guitar is currently tuned in 432, so it might come through. I hope it heals. Yeah, let me just set up now.
Well, I'm glad you've at least attempted to tune it to 432.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah.
All together now. Oh dear, it's out of tune. Will you give me 2 minutes? I'll just go off the mic and I'll just tune my guitar up again.
Yeah.
Thanks. Go on.
Yeah, the frequency of 432 is the frequency of love.
That's it.
And that is 432 hertz.
Not the 440 that you get blasted down your radios in your cars, in your houses, and on your Sky TV.
Yeah.
Everywhere else. When you walk in supermarkets, you'll hear it. But you'll not hear the 432.
No. And very sadly not played a lot. In fact, I have a flute made in 432.
Yeah, I've heard that, Paul. It's beautiful sound as well.
I'll see what I can do for you. Yeah. So Ruby give a good summation of her life, and that's not all her life. I'm sure there's a lot of more horror mixed up amongst that, what we can't even dream to even imagine.
Oh, yeah. I don't think I'd have enough time in my life, nor Ruby's life, to explain probably all her experiences, but really just the ones that you do hear from what she's told tonight, and the other videos on YouTube, if you go around looking, is more than enough, in my opinion, to get some basic knowledge on what it is that she's had to suffer and endure.
Yeah, and it takes a very strong person to come forward and speak of these things that happen to them.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing I've noticed, Paul. All these survivors who come now whistleblowing, they've all shared the same strength.
Yeah, I just wish that all the other victims are now survivors. I just wish they would be able to gain the fortitude and come forward and let people know how prevalent this is. And they're coming forward bit by bit, you know, they are.
Yeah,
and
we've seen the victims turn survivors. Now it's time to see survivors turn protectors, like they're doing, like Ruby's doing. She's out there protecting. You know, Mickey Summers, he's out there protecting. I'll just go on and on and on with amount of people.
Melanie Shaw, for instance, look what she's having to endure for coming forward.
Every second of a day that she's spending in HMP Peterborough.
Yeah, and most of the time in solitary.
Well, for the past 3 weeks, we can clearly, you know, say that that's been the case.
Yeah, and she's been victimised.
You ready, Rhys?
I'm ready, mate.
Oh,
here we go. This is called Moving On to Better Things, yeah? That's what we're going to do. Changing all the channels, cause you cannot change your mind. You're caught up in the loopholes, cause you're losing all the time. Well, I got words to help you, that'll make you see the light. We'll be all the wiser when we put the world to right. When you feel the way you feel today, like slipping away. I'll meet you in the darkness when you go blind. Now we'll try to change your mind. I'll shine the light back onto your face so you see all this pain you feel. It just means that you're more real. Moving out of this misery, we'll be moving on. We'll be moving on to bigger things. You in the darkness when you go blind. Now we'll try to change your mind. Shine the light back onto your face so you see all this pain you feel. It just means that you're more real. Move out of the misery. We'll be moving on. We'll be moving on to bigger things.
Lovely.
Excellent.
Lovely. And shine the light on the wrongs. It's the only way to put them right.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, guys.
No, welcome, Rhys. Nice listening to that. Enjoyed it. Keep it up. Don't let that one go. Don't get too big for your game either.
No, it's the first time I've broadcasted that, but I think it's significant, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, very much.
Alright, well that's it for tonight's Flux News. We will be back tomorrow. Well, I'll be back. I think we've got Rhys joining us and maybe Dave Witcher back as well.
Davey baby.
As I cover the police and the bailiffs with David Baby and Rhys.
Wicked.
So join us again tomorrow. Stay tuned for more. Bye for now.